If you've ever felt unsure or even scared about working with people with psychosis, then this episode is for you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast where we talk all things psychology, career, and personal growth. My name is Maja, and if you're an aspiring psychologist like me, then join me on this journey of discovering how to become a good psychologist. This episode is for anyone going into a role where you're supporting people with psychosis, with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and you're wondering, how do I support them? How do I know if I'm saying the right things? Don't worry, I've been there. I supported adults with psychosis for almost 2 years, and I had the same worries going into it. So today I'm going to share the top 5 lessons that I learned from supporting individuals with psychosis. We're going to talk boundaries, we're going to talk hallucinations and delusions, self-neglect, and even self-harm. So all the things that you are probably worried about, I want to make sure that you're feeling a lot more confident going into this role. The first lesson that I learned is boundaries and consistencies are absolutely key. One of the most powerful lessons that I learned is boundaries are really not barriers, they are safety nets. And this can be very difficult to put into practice for anyone that's a people pleaser, which I definitely am. But it's just really important to remember that a lot of people experiencing psychosis already feel like the world is unpredictable and inconsistent and confusing. So having boundaries in place consistently can really help them feel emotional safety. So for example, I had this client that always came into the office and asked for favors that weren't part of the care plan. In the office we had staff tea and milk and coffee, and the residents in that house were meant to have their own food and drink and everything. So we weren't supposed to give out the staff tea and milk. It seems very small. But one of the clients would come in like 10 to 15 times a day asking for milk and tea, to the point where there was barely any left for staff. As a team, we realized that some people were very assertive and would say, no, this isn't part of your care plan. Others would be a bit more lenient, including me. It seems like something small. I kind of felt bad for saying no because it's just milk, it's just tea, it's not that deep. But the more inconsistent it was, the more this client felt dysregulated. And actually, when we all started keeping that boundary of no, this isn't allowed for any residents, the client actually became less anxious and respected the boundary a lot more and respected staff a lot more for keeping that boundary consistent, which was really interesting to see. Having a sort of structure, routine, house rules can really help clients that you're supporting, clients with psychosis, feel more safe. So the key takeaway is, when used with compassion, boundaries can actually be very therapeutic. Okay, number 2, hallucinations and delusions. This is something that a lot of people worry about. I definitely did. Before I started the role, I just remember thinking, oh my God, what am I going to say if someone says that they're hearing voices, or if I'm part of the delusion, like how am I meant to support them? And the main thing that I want you to take away from this is you don't have to agree or disagree with the hallucination, the delusion, whatever they're experiencing. You just have to validate their experience. Avoid saying things like, that's not real, or even pretending to see or hear or believe what they're believing. Instead, say things like, oh, that sounds quite scary, or that must be very stressful and difficult for you to deal with. Do you want to talk about it? How can I support you with this? This kind of builds trust with the client without exacerbating the delusion or hallucination or making them feel like there's something wrong with them. invalidating their experience, because it is real, it feels real for them. Over time, if you build trust with a certain client, you can start to explore alternative perspectives, but that will probably come with time and rapport. Lesson number 3, your calm presence matters. When someone is experiencing a lot of distress and paranoia, your response to that, your tone, your body language, your level of regulation can be a really useful tool for that person. It can really go either way. If you get kind of triggered by the client, if you respond with a lot of anxiety and panic or defensiveness, then that can escalate the situation for them and make them feel even more anxious. But if you respond with a very calm voice, if you slow down your speech, if you stay grounded, maybe encourage them to sit down and just approach them with empathy and warmth and trying to understand rather than getting defensive or anxious yourself. There was a situation that I had when I was working by myself one time. This client came in very distressed, and I think I was some kind of trigger for him. He started calling me loads of different names and saying that I've hurt him and hurt his family and all these different things, which obviously weren't true, but because it was directed at me, it's very easy to just take it personally and think that you've done something wrong. In those moments especially, it's super important to stay calm. I kind of just said to him, "Oh, that's not very nice, but I'm here if you want to talk. You're safe. I'm listening. How can I support you?" And that client kind of went away, and then after 10 minutes he came back and actually wanted to sit down and have a chat and was a lot calmer after that. Key takeaway here is you don't have to fix the distress or come up with solutions. Your calm presence is the intervention. Number 4, how to approach self-neglect and self-harm. It's very common for a lot of people with psychosis to struggle with daily self-care and hygiene, and also to engage in self-harming behaviors. It's very easy to slip into judgment and being critical of them, whether you mean to or not. It's very easy to see a missed shower or multiple missed showers as laziness, when it can be loads of different things. It can be lack of motivation, executive dysfunction, or depressive states like low mood and losing a sense of meaning and purpose, especially for adults with psychosis who aren't able to work anymore because of their illness. It can feel like they don't really have a purpose. So what I would do if you want to support someone who self-neglects a lot, instead of saying you need to shower, try saying something like, would you like support with one task today? That can really shift your approach from blaming them and making them feel worse about themselves to, how can I help? Like, I am here to help you. And in terms of self-harm, the key thing that you want to keep in mind is to be curious, because self-harm can often serve as a function to that individual. It often has some kind of purpose. So it can be useful to try and understand what purpose it serves for them. Often it's a way to cope, to feel in control. Try to be less judgmental and lead with empathy and curiosity instead. And the last lesson that I learned was seeing the person beneath the symptoms. And what I mean by that is there's always a person underneath the diagnosis. It can be very easy to get wrapped up in the different symptoms, the voices, the paranoia, the disorganized speech, maybe the side effects of the medication that they're taking. But what helped me shift this perspective was remembering that this illness doesn't define them. It's not their entire identity. Like, for example, I had a client who loved gardening. It would really bring them joy, and you could see their personality come out when he would garden. Like, we really saw his humor come out and his creativity, and then he'd just start talking about things that he likes, that he doesn't like, his past experiences, all the different parts of his life and his identity that aren't just about the psychosis. Reframing your approach to this can really help them as well, because a lot of people with psychosis often feel like it defines their entire identity. So helping them reconnect with things that they love, things that bring them joy, can be one of the most powerful things you can do for them. We all want to have some kind of purpose in life, in our everyday. Otherwise, it's so hard to get out of bed. You want something to motivate you, to give you that meaning in life. So if you can encourage them to do that, whatever that means for them, then you are already doing an amazing job. So to wrap this up, my top tips for supporting people with psychosis are: number 1, boundaries and consistency are absolutely key. Number 2, with hallucinations and delusions, you don't have to agree or disagree with them, just validate their experience with it. Number 3, your calm presence is the intervention. Number 4, approach self-neglect and self-harm with empathy and curiosity. And number 5, see the person beneath the symptoms. If this is the first time that you're supporting adults with psychosis, or maybe you're already doing it but you're struggling with it, just ask yourself, what makes you so worried about supporting people with psychosis? What makes you nervous? What makes you a bit scared or intimidated? Identify those things and think about, how can I learn? How can I improve? How can I be less judgmental and more curious and empathetic? And just remember that you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to fix anyone's psychosis. You're just there to provide support, to connect, to show up with curiosity and respect and a calm presence. And that will do wonders for the people you're supporting. If this episode has helped you feel a bit more confident about supporting individuals with psychosis, then rate it, leave it a review wherever you get your podcasts. If you're on YouTube, subscribe, give it a like. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for being here and helping this grow. That's it from me. Remember to be kind to yourself, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Bye.